For the record, Darryl Perry, CEO of Lobby LLC. I oppose the bill for a lot of the same reasons presented by Mr. C. And I just want to touch on a few things that I've heard earlier. There were statements that the Secretary of State and the State Treasurer elections should be nonpartisan, and so therefore we should not allow any kind of campaigning. You know what else is nonpartisan in this state? Municipal elections. So based on the logic that nonpartisan elections should not have campaigning, then let's just go ahead and put forward a piece of legislation saying that nobody running for a municipal election can do any kind of fundraising or expenditures. I don't think that anybody for 1 second would think that that's a legitimate idea and would just toss it out as absolutely absurd. There was a question about whether or not this would chill free speech. And it may not, but what it does is it impedes campaigning. And if the purpose is to actually have somebody, as several people suggested, go around and speak to 424 members of the New Hampshire General Court, well, it takes money to drive all over the country, all the way up to the White Mountains, coast to the Connecticut River. I don't know anybody that, maybe there are people that have the time and money to just take off work and travel the state nonstop for basically a month. But your average person that's seeking a political office, they're going to use campaign funds for that. There was also suggestion that there might have been vote buying, whilst simultaneously saying that there's no evidence that there were actually any contributions from the political action committee set up by Mr. Van Ostern to any legislative candidates. So I don't see how you could say vote buying while also saying there was no money that was given to candidates. And this further seems to be a bill created to target one particular individual. So for those reasons, I oppose the bill, and I'll attempt to answer any questions.
Representative Lang.
So let me ask you this question. So we were talking to the Secretary of State almost exclusively for the last 30 minutes, but what about the Treasurer's Office? Don't you think that would be inappropriate for the Treasurer's Office to set up a PAC and then have the banks all contribute to his PAC when he's the very person who's going to issue bonds and decide where the state does banking and all of these other issues? Don't you think that would be just as inappropriate to have him accept money and funds from the financial industry?
Possibly, and if there is indeed evidence that there's some kind of kickbacks, that's illegal at the federal level. I was born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama. The former president of the county commission served, I think it was 15 years in federal prison for doing just that, accepting bribes and kickbacks, where banks gave money to his campaign, and then he turned around and gave favorable bond deals to those same banks. So what you're talking about is bribery, which is illegal. Most states in the country, the state treasurer and the secretary of state are elected by voters at large, and it's not limited to the legislature selecting a certain individual.
But don't you think the purpose of this law is to remove doubt, right? So that we just don't allow those kind of activities. It maintains the absolute integrity of those two offices, don't you think?
I don't think that's the purpose of the law. I think the purpose of the law is some form of incumbent protection, but I could see how somebody would think what you just said.
Thank you.
Representative Pearson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Perry, for coming today. I just want to first off say that I'm totally against money in politics. That's why I got involved. But without a wholesale change, I don't see this piecemeal attempt at working. And I want to ask you a question that I meant to ask Alvin also, but it's one that I asked earlier. Do you see any incumbency advantage in the Secretary of State holding his office going into a campaign year?
I see most campaign finance as some kind of incumbent protection, this included.
Further questions?